Hello, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. I have some easy pocket card ideas that I want to share with you that feature the hand penned suite. So I have different products from that particular suite that I'm going to be using to create these cards. But you really can create these cards with any supplies that you have on hand. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways. Let me just pick this up here. A couple different ways to create this little pocket card. So I'll show you how to create the pocket, and then there's a couple different ways we can create the actual card that slides into the pocket. So I have like a postcard style here, and then I have kind of like a card within a card. So I have a little card that I'm going to tuck into this little pocket section here. So I'm going to show you how to create the pocket section, and then I'll show you how to create the postcard and the card within a card. So good morning, everybody. So today I am using the hand penned petals stamp set. I'm really just using the greeting, and for this particular card, I used some of the images. But again, you can really use any set that you have on hand to create these cards, and of course, any designer paper. But I really love this hand penned designer series paper, so that is what I'm using today. So we're going to start with this particular card. So the first thing you're going to do is just cut a 5 1/4, I'm sorry, a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock. So I'm using white. You can actually use whatever color you want. And this is going to be the base of the card, and this is going to be where we create our pocket for the card. So the next thing I did, let me just grab my glue here, is I cut a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of pattern paper. So this is just going to be the background. This is this background here on the card. So I'm going to start by adhering this. We'll add that first. Good morning. Okay. So there's our background. So the next thing you want to do is we want to create this little pocket here so that we can slide this little card into the pocket. So what I did for that is I started with a 3 1/2 by 3 1/2 inch piece of white cardstock. And then I just cut it in half diagonally from corner to corner to create two triangular pieces. So I'm going to use one on this card, and I'm going to save this other one for the second card that I'm going to show you how to make. So that's really it. And you could probably create any kind of size triangular piece that you want. I just chose 3 1/2. So I didn't go all the way to the corner. And then the next thing I did is I did the exact same thing with my designer paper, except for I cut just a smaller square. So this is a 3 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and then I just cut it diagonally. So you can actually make two cards with this. So this I'm going to use just to decorate my little triangular piece here. So I'll add that piece on. And there's lots of different ways you can do this. You can use designer paper like I'm doing. You can do embossing if you want. So I'm just going to add this. All right. So that's how I'm decorating my triangular piece. And so this is the piece we're going to use for the pocket. So what I'm going to do is just add some adhesive to these outer edges here, and I'm going to leave this long diagonal side free of adhesive. So we'll just add some little bit of adhesive along here, and then I'll turn it and add a little bit along here. So you want to leave that one side free of adhesive so that you can slide your little card into this pocket. So this is what's going to create the pocket. So it's a pretty easy card design, but it's unique and it's just kind of fun, something different. I like different. So Okay, so we're gonna let this dry for a moment. I'm gonna move that out of the way. And then we'll create this little pocket card. So for this particular card, I just decided to create like a little postcard so it doesn't open. It's just a little piece of cardstock that's going to slide in here. And so I'm going to show you how to decorate that and create that. So I'm going to start with a 3¼ by 4¼ inch piece of white cardstock. And then I just cut a 3 by 4 inch piece of pattern paper. So that's what I'm adhering to the front. And then I just created a little, I guess, just a little scalloped piece that I'm going to add across the top here just to kind of decorate it. So this is one of the dies from the hand penned bundle. I forget what the die is called, but I just cut a little piece of cardstock and then just used one of these scalloped dies in there to create this little trim piece. So I'm just going to add that up at the top. And so I'm just really showcasing my designer paper. I'm not going to add anything else to this. Well, okay, I lied. I'm going to add a little bit of twine, but that's it. I'm not adding anything else. So what I want to do is just wrap this around. Let's give us a little bit more here. Just going to wrap a piece of twine around twice. And I'm just going to tie this. Now you can decorate this any way you want. You know, if you want to add some little butterflies or, you know, some type of embellishment on here, you certainly can. I just opted to leave it the way it is and just showcase my designer paper. All right, so I'm going to tie this and then we'll have our little piece created. And there we go. So notice how I always tie my bows upside down. They just seem to lay better when I do that. Okay, so there's my bow. And then I'm just going to trim these off. And then we have our little piece created. Okay, and then on the back is where you can write your little message. So I'm going to just scoot this up here a little bit. So on the back, we can write our little message here. And then I just added some extra designer paper down on the bottom here, kind of went all the way across just to decorate the back, but it's just kind of a fun way to decorate the card. So we'll slide that in there. So our little insert is complete. So we can slide it into our pocket card and see how it just kind of creates the focal point for your card. So the next thing I'll do, I'll just add a couple little gems. So I'm just using some of these little gems from the suite. So I'll add those at the top. And then I added my greeting right to the pocket of the card, but you can actually add it to the card itself if you want, but I thought it was a fun way to decorate the little pocket. So there we go. So that's how you create the pocket card. So this is one way that you can do it, just creating just a little postcard for the inside. And then the second way that I have here is to create a little card within a card. So this is actually just a little card that you can do your writing on. So if you don't like the postcard style, you can create a little card style. So the concept for creating this is exactly the same, except for the card part. So you'll start with a 4¼ by 5½ inch piece of white cardstock. And then again, I'm just going to add a piece of designer paper. So I have a 5¼ by 4 inch piece of designer paper that I'm going to add right to this piece. And then to create my pocket, it's the same concept. So this is that leftover piece from creating that first card. So, you cut the 3.5 by 3.5 inch piece of white cardstock and just cut it in half diagonally to create this triangular piece. And then the same thing with the decorative piece. This is just a 3.25 by 3.25 inch piece cut in half diagonally. So that's what I'm using to decorate my pocket. So we'll add that. And then I'm just going to add my adhesive along the edge here. And then we'll add this. And we'll give this a little bit of time to dry. But I did use that die. I think it's called Penned Flowers. So I use that die to create a little scalloped piece to kind of decorate the edge of my pocket card. So I'm just going to add this too while we're at it. All right, so there is the decorative piece. And then while we're waiting for that to dry, we'll just add a little floral. So this is, again, I created these little die cut pieces with the die set that comes with the bundle, the hand pen bundle. I'm just going to add a couple glue dots here. And we'll just decorate that up. Whoop. Sticky fingers, I guess. Okay, so we'll set this aside for the moment, and I'll show you how to create this little card within a card. So I just started with a 3 by 8 inch piece of white cardstock, and then I scored it in the center at 4 inches, and that's how I created this particular card. You can really make it any size that you want, but I thought a 3 inch wide piece would just fit nicely in here. So the card front itself is 3 by 4. So then what I did is just cut a 3 by 4 inch piece of pattern paper, and I'm just going to cover the whole front of the card. So we'll add this. And then again, I cut a little piece of trim. In this case, I cut it for the bottom here. You can add it to the top or the bottom. So I'm just going to add it to the bottom. Oop, almost put it on upside down. So we'll add this little piece right across there. And then again, I just used that twine to just kind of wrap a little bit of twine around here. So let me do that real quick. Try to make it quick. This is probably the putziest part, adding the little bit of twine. Okay. All right, so we'll tie our little bow and trim off these excess pieces, and then you really have just a quick and simple card that you can tuck into that little pocket section. So we'll scoot this up a little bit and trim these off. And there you go. Now we'll just add our little greeting. And again, you can embellish this any way that you want. I just decided I was going to go simple and just showcase my pattern paper. So this pattern paper is just really pretty. and it just makes a really nice card all on its own. You don't have to add a lot to it. So now we can tuck this inside our little pocket fold. If I can get it open. There we go. And then we have our cute little card. And then I'll add a couple little gems. And then I think we're done with that. So I hope you thought these were pretty easy. It's just kind of a fun way, to create a unique little card. And, you can use any supplies that you have on hand to do that. So I'm going to bring back this other card. So these are the two designs that I shared. So this is kind of the postcard style. This is the card within a card. And then they're both created in portrait style, but you can also create them in landscape style. So instead of creating it this way, you can create it in the landscape style like I have here. So it just changes the look of the card, but the dimensions are the same. So it's the exact same measurements that I've been sharing with you, for the designer paper and to create this little pocket section. And then again, you can use any size paper to create the little insert. So this one I think is just a little bit smaller. It's like 2 3/4 by 4, but it's the same concept. And so on the back, I just added a little bit of designer paper. So this is where I would put my message. But the cool thing is, so this one I created in landscape, excuse me, with a little postcard here, just like I did here. But I could also create it with just a regular card, that opens up. So I could also create a regular card in this direction and use it, landscape style. So although I showed you both of these card ideas in portrait style, you can do both of them in landscape style. I hope that makes sense. So there we go. So that's the landscape one. And here are the other two. Okay. So now you guys have something that you can work on this afternoon. And again, you can use, any supplies that you have on hand to create these. If you want more information on the measurements, if you missed those, you can get those out on my blog. I did link to that in the description with this video. So feel free to go out there and grab the measurements for these pocket style cards. So I hope you guys enjoyed these quick little card ideas. Have a wonderful Sunday, and I will talk to you guys again next week. Take care, everybody.